Today we are at Itron Inspire, and I am talking to Tim Claes with Itron. Hello.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to see you too. We're talking about greenhouse gas reduction benefits from smart grid technology. So let's start with, what are some benefits that utilities may not be thinking about when it comes to smart grid in terms of greenhouse gas reduction?
I think generally speaking, the utilities do not think of greenhouse gas reductions at all in terms of their smart grid or their AMI investments. It is partially, we think, because these investments were done maybe 10 years ago, and the decision was made, the business case was done 15 years ago. And that was a time when greenhouse gas reductions weren't very standard part of the business case.
Yeah.
And so when we have the conversations now with utilities, they are very happy to realize that a lot of the benefits that they are realizing, operational benefits, have a greenhouse gas reduction component.
Yeah. Yeah. So how does Itron's AMI help utilities reduce their own carbon footprints?
So the one that is top of mind for most utilities is a truck roll.
Yeah.
A meter read, if that is eliminated, that means that the truck is not burning gas, and therefore there's no greenhouse gas that's being emitted that way. That's one that is very top of mind because it was a standard part of the business case in terms of monetary payback of AMI.
Yeah.
But there are other use cases as well, such as energy efficiency. The smart grid, the smart meter delivers a lot of insights, a lot of data that customers can use to reduce their energy usage. That's one. And then, for instance, also time of use is another use case that most utilities don't think of, because it is basically a new innovative rate that can really help drive energy efficiency or reduce energy consumption overall. But most utilities don't think of that as a greenhouse gas, benefit for them or for their customers.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. So when you incentivize the customer to use less energy when there's peak demand,
right,
at that peak demand time, there's more carbon being emitted.
Right, and so peak demand is being defined in different ways right now. So it used to be, when is the grid going to get into operational problems, like we saw not long ago in California,
right,
because of a heat wave, for instance. But there's also, you could define it as the peak moment when the greenhouse gases is most present in your kilowatt hour of energy.
Yeah.
And so we see utilities making that shift where they are not necessarily looking at peak demand just in terms of like the highest moment of usage.
Interesting. Okay, I'm with you. That's really cool. All right, so what's an example of a utility that's really getting it right in terms of reducing their own greenhouse gases?
Most of utilities have this now on their radar in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
One utility that I want to call out that did a really good job, I think, in quantifying some of the energy efficiencies is ComEd, because they were able to find a very practical way to do a pretty advanced calculation in terms of how much greenhouse gases were saved from their energy efficiency programs. And so that was really cool to see.
Yeah, that must have been. Okay, so what advice? So Tim works on business plans, helps utilities make the business case for these types of investments. So what advice would you give to utilities who've had programs or initiatives rejected by their regulators? Like, what should they be doing differently?
A couple of years ago, there was a lot of talk about inserting more customer-facing benefits into the business case to make sure that the commissions were favorable towards these investments. I would say that has expanded a little bit, and I would call them societal benefits. And so it could be the energy efficiency from portals, finding a way how this directly benefits the customer. But it could also be, for instance, quantifying value of service. What is the value of not having an outage? That's a societal benefit that we've seen a lot of customers successfully use and quantify in their business cases recently. And so those two ones are probably still ones that are very important for customers to integrate in their business case. But I would also say, give us a call. We're happy to help and advise you on what we think you might want to look into.
Awesome. Well, I hope they take you up on that. That's Tim Claes with Itron. Tim, thanks so much for coming out.
Thank you.